30 years ago, for the Oscars of 1958, the Academy voted this film, Gigi, Best Picture, and 8 other Oscars, plus a special one for Maurice Chevalier's whole career.
Thank heaven for little girls. Thank heaven for them all, no matter where, no matter who. Without them, what would little boys do?
Vincent Minnelli won the Academy Award as Best Director for Gigi, but personally, I prefer another movie Minnelli directed that also was released in 1958, a drama. Based on James Jones' novel, Some Came Running, co-starring Frank Sinatra as an unsuccessful writer returning to his hometown after the war, Dean Martin as a traveling card shark he befriends, and Shirley MacLaine as an innocent and good-hearted, good-time girl who's in love with Sinatra. MacLaine was nominated for Best Actress. Arthur Kennedy was nominated for Best Supporting Actor as Sinatra's hypocritical brother, and Martha Hyer for Best Supporting Actress as a local English school teacher who loves Sinatra's work but is repelled by the man. An ambiguous, disturbing look at middle-class mores and pretensions, with MacLaine's performance still the highlight and perhaps her most touching.
Look, I'm not in love with anybody.
Dave? Dave, be in love with me. Oh, I love you so much. I never met anybody like you before in my whole life.
Some of the big pictures that year were The Defiant Ones and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Auntie Mame, and there were others which failed but still look pretty good today, better even than some of the hits, like John Ford's elegiac political drama, The Last Hurrah, based on Edwin O'Connor's bestseller, starring Spencer Tracy as an Irish mayor running for re-election in a Boston-like city, another of Ford's tragedies about the glory and defeat.
Ditto. 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 How do you thank a man for a million laughs?
The most nostalgic and promising rematch of the year was when Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman got back together again 13 years after the Hitchcock classic Notorious. For this confection, Indiscreet, directed by Stanley Donen. If the vehicle was a little low on fuel, the actors still managed to exude an irresistible allure that kept it moving. Speaking of Alfred Hitchcock, 1958 also saw the release of one of his most ambitious suspense pictures, but not one of his most successful at the box office. Over these 30 years, however, it's acquired a ranking by international critics as one of the master's best and most personal works, a tragic love story called Vertigo. Starring James Stewart as a police detective retired because of his vertigo and a job he takes following a friend's eccentric wife, played by Kim Novak in her finest performance. Stewart falls in love with her, but she's killed, so it seems, and then he meets another woman who reminds him of the first, and he tries to transform her, unaware that she is the same woman. But probably the least honored picture of the year turns out to be, arguably, its best. I remember the film opened in a recut version in New York on the top half of a 4-day double bill all over the city. That's when I first saw it. Panned or disregarded in America, the movie was at the same time being hailed in Europe as a masterpiece. It was the last film directed for a major studio by Orson Welles. A devastating thriller called Touch of Evil, set at the Mexican-American border with Welles himself as a corrupt cop who relies on instinct rather than rules, Charlton Heston as a Mexican police official who gets embroiled in a local murder, and Janet Leigh as Heston's wife, who also gets involved much more than she wanted. With Dennis Weaver, Zaza Gabor, Akim Tamirov, and an especially memorable performance from Marlene Dietrich. This is among Welles's finest, most fascinating pictures, now available in the original uncut version, which Orson did not live to see released.
I don't usually talk about my wife.
Never when you're sober.
She was strangled, Pete.
I know.
Bind and cord. She was working up at the packing plant, so the killer had it right to hand. Smart. You don't leave fingerprints on a piece of string.
And for kids or cartoon buffs, let us not forget that 1958 was the year a Bugs Bunny short won the Oscar as Best Cartoon of the Year. Nighty Night Bugs, directed by Friz Frelling and featuring Yosemite Sam as the heavy and an especially stupid dragon.